And now for our third helping of Halloween joy. This is...
My name is Gecko, and a member of Man Bites Media, and representative here to see if I could bring you this masterpiece.
What's this one we're jumping into?
If you like big hair bands from the 80s, if you like just raw, crazy, idle hands style horror that's comedic, but with awesome soundtrack and just kind of okay acting, but just a cool story overall, you definitely want to check out
Deathgasm.
This is for Todd.
Check it out.
Ricky Daggers. Is he dead? Wouldn't it be crazy if the music had something to do with demons?
Demons.
We're all gonna die.
Just the name alone immediately had me going... Either this is a horror movie about people who kill to get off, or it's something completely different. But I looked up the trailer and immediately going...
Yes.
That's the one. And for Halloween, that is definitely what we're going for. We want to find some of those great obscure horror movies that no one's heard about, whether they be horror comedies or just straight out horror. Tell me a little bit about Deathgasm. What's it about?
So basically, it's this hair metal band that they're trying to imitate that sound of the 80s and stuff like that, and that really like raw heavy metal vibe to them.
We're talking about the Scorpions, we're talking about like Rat, we're talking about
like the really over the top hair bands, which is very conservative in the 80s, so they have that very conservative aspect that people just look at them with this face like, you are death, you are the devil. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to summon the devil.
They are actually deliberately trying to summon the devil.
Yes. And I don't want to reveal any more, because any more will reveal way too much. And you won't enjoy the roller coaster that is this movie.
At first I was looking at it, I was like, this kind of reminds me of Knights of Badassdom.
Yes, yes.
Watching a resurrected Peter Dinklage fight a succubus. That I'll always forgive that with Ryan Quanten, you know,
right?
singing death metal behind it. That's all great, but in the end, the movie still kind of goes a little nuts by the dead end. But this one
is very grounded. It doesn't fall victim of like the idle hands and all that stuff, that it kind of goes too far with the comedy aspect of it and doesn't concentrate on the horror. This has that perfect mashup that you really enjoy it. And it's one that you could really rewatch over and over again. It's a party movie, honestly.
Okay.
You could sit there, drink with people, talk while it's going on, and still enjoy the premise of it, because it does have a really good premise.
Damn it, I should have got a six-pack before coming here to watch it. Missed opportunity.
This one was on Netflix. It was one of those like random recommended picks. And I was like, ooh, I would definitely watch it. I think it was actually right after watching Knights of Badassdom.
Oh, really?
So I think it was right after that.
Was it like a recommendation under?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do like it when Netflix does that, because every now and then I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I've never heard of it until this point, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Because I went in with no expectations, nothing like that. So you go into it just expecting a normal movie and watch it like a hair metal band. It is a treat, and you shall enjoy.
And I hope you all shall enjoy it. I intend to as well. Fingers crossed. This is Deathgasm.
You know, I'm not even sure I'm in the right tuning. Brother to steal.
Yeah, that was an exhaustive watch. Got a souvenir though.
Yes, we did. We did.
So I just basically witnessed what would happen if Edgar Wright and Peter Jackson had a baby.
Ah, yes.
I mean,
original Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah, early Peter Jackson. No, we're talking early Peter Jackson. I'm looking at elements of Scott Pilgrim here.
Yeah.
And definitely a lot of elements of Dead Alive.
A lot of Dead Alive.
A lot of Dead Alive was in
Especially
this.
towards the latter part.
Well, definitely with the innovative kills with lawn tools. The one thing I'm going to get the cons out of the way first off. I'll say there were some lackluster characters in the sense of just not as much development, or just all of a sudden, oh hey, this character's doing this one thing just because it seems like the progression needed her to do this. Medina, I'd probably say, is probably the most erratic character of the bunch. I mean, where all of a sudden she doesn't seem like she'd be attracted to Brody, and then all of a sudden, oh hey, she has some kind of attraction.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't like death metal, all of a sudden listens to it for 2 seconds. And then all of a sudden,
that's all we get exposed to.
Admittedly. Admittedly, a lot of things happen when we're not looking.
Yeah.
So
It's
fair.
concentrated
Fair.
on Brody, and it's his point of view 100%.
Yeah, that is true. That is truth. So I can't begrudge that. Well, and then you got the other members of the band. You feel like they're more character archetypes as opposed to any actual. You feel like they're just there.
That's where I pull the influence of Idle Hands.
Okay, I get.
See the
Yeah,
two.
I can
they're
kind
the
of
sidekicks.
I can kind of see that. I mean, I wouldn't say Idle Hands is something to aspire to, but I can.
Oh come
Oh
on!
no!
Idle
Sorry,
Hands is
you
great.
don't make an entire movie, ripping off only 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2. Even the caricature characters we got in this one are still better than a lot of characters you run into in most low-rate horror films. This is one of those movies you never expect to. That even I'm sure even the filmmakers didn't expect to go beyond New Zealand, but as lo and behold it does. And you know what? Even though you can pinpoint the low budget tricks in the movie, and I also noticed different changes in what type of cameras they were using for filming certain shots and certain angles.
100%.
Yeah, and actually to its credit, this is one of the times where stuff like that actually works.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, kind of like when you go back and watch like the original Evil Dead, or even Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
It was cool to see the low budget tricks and how it kind of added to the charm. And if you want proof, watch the remake, the ill-advised Platinum Dunes remake of Texas Chainsaw, and notice how because it was
cringeworthy.
because it was so glossy and so manufactured, it took away from the visceral nature of it.
Which that's what's appealing about it.
Yeah.
But this one, it's glossy. It's nice and shiny.
Exactly.
And it doesn't fall. It makes fun of the tropes that
there are a lot of tropes that and even some of the better ones even fall into these tropes. And I liked how this one even questioned it. I liked how his friend came back to help save the day, and he's in his full blown metal makeup. And I love the fact that Medina actually took time to call him out on. And you took the time to put your makeup on.
It really accentuates your eyes, though.
Yeah, it does. True to her credit, yes, it absolutely does. But in the end, you still blew 15 minutes that could have been spent rescuing us, and you spent that time to put your makeup on. The best friend character, I feel bad. Subtitle there for his actual name. He was the one character who I was kind of all over the place, but I do like it periodically when you have a character that you don't know one way or another where he leans.
Yeah.
Because it does add a nice level of spontaneity to the plot.
And you don't know where it's going to go with him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's refreshing when you see a movie like that and you're like, I was genuinely surprised by that.
Yeah, they're setting it up that it's going to be like a Sean and Ed kind of friendship there where they're both going to, band together. But it was kind of cool seeing how he was unreliable.
Yep.
And it's not out of his character either. From the way they set him up at the beginning, you always got the feeling that he was going to be kind of a live wire who was going to be self-interested. But you do see a little bit that he actually does kind of like having a friend.
Yeah. They play on the tropes, but they make fun of it, and then they do it in such a way that they exemplify what we want in those tropes.
Yeah. Actually, that is exactly, I think, one of the things that made it a lot of fun to watch is because it was very savvy to know the cliches. And I like that we live in the cinematic climate that we do where people are savvy to the cliches.
Yeah.
And it seems like the great thing about independent horror films is that the filmmakers seem to have the freedom to be able to skew those cliches because they don't have the studios breathing down their necks saying like, oh, people like it when you do it this way. Oh, they love them jump scares. And I did notice an absence of jump scares.
There was two.
There was two, but
That's it.
but they didn't seem to be driven by them. So I was really kind of enjoying that. I just like that they just wanted to just throw us in just to have madness with demons and dildos. Lots of dildos.
Yeah, there's a lot of dick and fart jokes.
Yeah, I admit, on the comedic side, yeah, it does go for the lowbrow.
The sophomoric, yeah.
The sophomoric, but at the same time,
It's enjoyable.
when you blend certain types of horror with certain types of comedy together, it does actually matter what type of comedy you're injecting into the mix. Fortunately, these characters, the way they are, them being hardcore metalheads, they're also being teenagers as well. You kind of expect a bit more lowbrow humor in this, and
it's a high school movie. I mean, you can't go any further than that. You have to understand that they're sophomoric in themselves.
They're sophomores and they're sophomores,
Yeah.
or the New Zealand equivalent of sophomores.
Yeah.
So I kind of forgave it. And not only that, I think it's also the matter of delivery as to when these things come in. This dildo scene comes in.
The beads. The beads
The
were the
dildos
best
and
part.
anal beads arrive when you find out that Brody's aunt and uncle, though Christian fundamentalists they may be, turns out they got themselves a little bit of a kinky side, and they have a variety of different of these accoutrements.
Giant black dildo. Double-sided.
Yeah, double-sided. Oh god. And anal beads, and I love in the beginning where they're like going, "Oh, maybe it's a rosary." Like, oh no. There's a whole scene where it seems like it funnels all of that into one spot. So because of the delivery and because of where it came in, I was okay with it. Normally in any other movies when they drill this stuff out, they usually just want to do it for the sake of the shock value, but there was something that just felt right about the fact they did it right here and there. You know what? They kept it right there, so it worked.
It kind of builds you up in certain aspects, and you have a certain expectation, and it completely shatters every time you build up that expectation. You're like, wow, that was awesome, and I did not expect that.
You know, another one thing this reminds me of, Attack the Block.
Yes,
It reminds me a lot of Attack the Block, because one of the things I loved about Attack the Block was the fact that it very uncompromisingly had no problems killing kids even, because it's like it's a life or death situation. People are going to die, and they had no problem showing that. Oh no, some of these kids are going to die.
That carriage scene. Oh my god, how long were we laughing about that carriage scene?
Yeah,
That's just great.
Even when they summon the demon, you got people vomiting blood left, right, and center. And of course we're talking, and then just in the midst of it, a mere couple second cut, we're seeing a baby pram and seeing blood squirting out of it. Freaking went nuts, because I'm like, yes! This is what you do in a wild, crazy horror comedy. Pacing was a bit sporadic in the beginning, but once the mayhem started, it definitely did not stop.
It had its moments where it was kind of shaky at the beginning, shaky at the end, and a little bit towards the middle. It was kind of wonky there. I was like,
kind of in spots. I mean, it took a while to get to the inevitable summoning. Moving forward, sometimes you do that in order to pay attention to the characters leading up to this point, but even then, like I said before, some of the characters' development is a touch erratic. So I'd say that's really, I think, the major thing is just the plotting. The character growth is a little uneven. Plotting was just fine. I mean, they set up what needed to be set up, especially with the Satanist cult.
Yeah.
Which and there's a great bit where we meet the head of the Satanist cult, and the guy who had come to obtain the black hymn to summon the demon, unfortunately, he fails. So the usual thing this goes, I don't tolerate failure, so they kill the emissary. And normally in any other thing, it's like, the guy's like, but no, they chop this guy's head up over a actually quite nice rug. And
very expensive rug.
Very expensive rug, apparently.
Do it again.
Again! Do it again!
That's good.
You are doing this pure and simple for your own catharsis, dude. The blood's already set in the rug.
Yeah.
It's a write-off. You're just doing it now, just in your head that you can move forward.
Power play.
It's
a power play.
Once again, did a great job skewing the cliche of what we're used to in horror films, and not just in horror films, but even in action films,
comedies,
even in comedies.
Yeah.
So, it was made by a filmmaker who clearly had his finger on the pulse on how to skew, and mock, and also revel in a lot of those cliches.
Yeah.
So definitely
have fun with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a fun movie to watch, and just it's a good drinking movie. You
It
sit
is-
down with a bunch of people. Drink.
Absolutely. Of all the movies that we're showcasing on Rare Delicacies, this one is the party movie. This is the horror movie that you put on at a really awesome party with your friends and just go nuts.
Yeah.
And you can do it, and it's gonna be.
You could sit there at any moment for 5 seconds and enjoy whatever scene is playing at the random moment, and the music is awesome.
Yeah, actually, much like rock and roll, this does have a really strong death metal soundtrack. And if you love death metal, and you know what, they use it just right in all the right scenes. It definitely really does great to add to the manic energy of a lot of the chainsaw, of all the hack and slashing.
Yeah.
If you love just excessive comedic gore, you are not going to be sold short on this one. It is everywhere. And there are even great moments where, and like any good horror film, it splatters in our hero's face. But I love that this one actually takes the time for our heroes to go, because I'm like, yeah, most of the time, they're always like, it's on me. But they're always doing it with their mouths out, like,
And then nothing.
and they don't react to that. But I'm like, oh, no, there's blood going in your mouth. It's gonna taste nasty. You go, thank you for addressing that.
They address a lot of weird things
Yeah.
in this movie that you're like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Somebody finally addressed that.
Yeah. So, I mean, this movie came out in 2015. We just discovered this, 2015. So they sequel baited this at the very end. And they do a really interesting way to sequel bait it, which opens the plot up to some possibilities for the future. So I hope this does well enough that it warrants a sequel, because I could see so much more you could do with it afterwards. I mean, even the characters, Medina and Brody they're in an interesting spot where I could see where they could have strong potential. So this is I guess you could say it's probably one of the more recent additions to Rare Delicacies. In a way, this is kind of like a advertisement to a movie that's still going around the circuit. So we watch this on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime right now, currently. So
and Shudder, actually.
and
Both.
Shudder. Yeah, actually, definitely check out Shudder. Probably be on Shudder longer than Amazon Prime, but definitely give that a go. But for Halloween, for anyone who's going to have a wild Halloween party, this is definitely what you're looking for. So for the Halloween season, this one truly 100% on the menu. Oh no, we gotta do it right. And now have a spot of tea.
Yes.
Okay, very lovely. No. Go down. Don't judge me.
I translated those pages. Now, people are turning crazy. Like, possessed crazy.
What's up?
That was pretty cool. As is, I mean,